Australia's transition into a predominantly white nation is a direct result of European colonization, beginning in the late 18th century. This process, initiated by the British, led to the widespread dispossession, displacement, and decimation of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander populations, fundamentally reshaping the continent's demographic and cultural landscape. The turning point came in 1770 when Captain James Cook, a British explorer, claimed the eastern coast of Australia for Britain under the doctrine of terra nullius, a legal concept that ignored the existing indigenous populations and their long-established connections to the land. The colonization process was set in motion in 1788 with the arrival of the First Fleet, which brought convicts, soldiers, and settlers to Sydney Cove, marking the beginning of large-scale European settlement. Throughout the 19th century, the British expanded their settlements across the continent, forcibly seizing vast tracts of Aboriginal land for agriculture, mining, and other economic activities. This expansion triggered a series of violent confrontations known as the Australian Frontier Wars, where Indigenous resistance was met with brutal force. The combination of frontier violence, introduced European diseases, and dispossession led to a catastrophic decline in the Aboriginal population, with some regions experiencing up to a 90% reduction. The establishment of the Commonwealth of Australia in 1901 marked another significant shift. The newly formed government implemented the Immigration Restriction Act, commonly known as the White Australia Policy, which sought to maintain Australia as a racially homogeneous society by restricting non-European immigration. This policy, coupled with assimilation practices aimed at erasing Aboriginal identity, further entrenched the dominance of European Australians. The stolen generations, a result of these assimilation policies, saw thousands of Aboriginal children forcibly removed from their families to be raised in white households or institutions, causing enduring social and psychological harm. The consequences for the Aboriginal population were devastating. They were stripped of their lands, which were integral to their cultural identity and survival. Socially, they faced severe dislocation, with many being pushed into poverty due to exclusion from the economic benefits enjoyed by the settlers. Politically, they were disenfranchised, not even counted in the national census until 1967, and were subject to discriminatory laws. However, the mid-20th century marked the beginning of change. The White Australia policy was gradually dismantled, and Australia embraced a more multicultural approach. Significant legal victories, such as the 1992 Mabwa decision, recognized Aboriginal land rights and overturned the terra nullius doctrine. Additionally, the movement towards reconciliation gained momentum, culminating in formal apologies, including the 2008 apology to the stolen generations. Despite progress in recognizing past wrongs and efforts toward reconciliation, the journey toward healing and justice is ongoing. The legacy of these actions serves as both a cautionary tale and a call to action for future generations, highlighting the need for continued commitment of Indigenous Australians.